We're here to protect you and the ones that you love. It's a good feeling to know that our efforts aren't going unnoticed.
It actually brought tears to my eyes to know that we have this support.
You're welcome. I must just say, you're welcome. It's stressful, but we're not going anywhere.
Welcome to another edition of Bucknell Women's Swimming and Diving Through the Decades. My name is Todd Newcomb, and tonight we have the decade of the 2010s, the most recent grads of the Bucknell Women's Swimming and Diving program. And we've got 6 outstanding alums joining head coach Dan Schinnerer and one of our current student athletes, Caroline Mahoney. Caroline is a freshman from Cape Elizabeth, Maine, and she's a sprint free and backstroke specialist, and we're glad to have her on the call tonight. So Caroline, thanks for being here. I want to thank Geisinger for sponsoring tonight's event. Geisinger has done a great job throughout the pandemic. And as always, they do a fantastic job with our student athletes day in and day out here at Bucknell. So thank you to Geisinger. Without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our alums, and then I'm going to turn it over to Coach and Caroline, and they'll run the show with the questions. So our first guest from the class of 2011 is Molly Gable. Molly was the team captain during the 2010-2011 season. She holds the Bucknell record in the 50 free. That is currently the longest standing swimming record on the Bucknell board. She was a 2-time All-Patriot League first team selection. She was an academic All-Patriot League team selection in 2011, and she won the program's Robert A. Latour Award in 2011 as well. And Molly won the Bison Club Award at the Athletic Department Senior Awards dinner. Our next guest from the class of 2014 is Kelly Ponte. She was the team captain during the 2013-2014 season. She holds the Bucknell records in both the 1,000 and 1650 freestyle events. She was an All-Patriot League first team selection once and a second team selection 3 times. She was the ECAC individual champion in the 500 free in 2014. She was an academic All-Patriot League team selection in both 2012 and 2013. She won the program's Robert A. Latour Award in 2014. She also won the Bradley N. Tufts Award at the Athletic Department Senior Award dinner. Our next guest from the class of 2015 is Tara Boyle. She was a team captain during the 2014-2015 season. She holds the Bucknell record on the 1 meter board with 6 optionals, and she was a 3-time Patriot League individual champion in the 1 meter dive, winning the event in 2012, 2013, and 2014. She was a 3-time All-Patriot League first team selection and a second team choice once. Tara was selected as the Patriot League's diver of the meet at the 2014 championships. She was an academic All-Patriot League team selection in 2013, 2014, and 2015. And Tara won the Lee S. Bud Rank Award at the Athletic Department Senior Awards dinner. Our next guest from the class of 2016 is Emma Lewandowski. She holds the Bucknell records in both the 100 and 200 backstroke events. She set the Kinney Natatorium pool record in the 200 back in 2015. She never lost a backstroke event at the Patriot League Championships over her 4-year career, capturing 4 gold medals in both the 100 and 200 backstroke. She was an All-Patriot League first team honoree in each of her 4 years. She was selected at the Patriot League's Rookie of the Meet at the 2013 championships, and Emma won the Christy Mathewson Award at the Athletic Department Senior Awards dinner. Our next guest from the class of 2017 is Diana Hansen. She holds the Bucknell record in the 100 breaststroke. She captured the Patriot League individual title in the 100 breast at the 2015 conference championships, and she was a 2-time All-Patriot League first team selection. Our final guest from the class of 2018 is Caroline Edelman. She is the 3rd of the Edelmans to be on our Through the Decades series. Her mom was on the series earlier, Susie, and her father, Peter, class of 85, was on the series on the men's side. She's a team captain during the 2017-2018 season. Caroline is a member of the school record holding 200 and 400 freestyle relay units, and she won the program's Robert A. Latour Award in 2018. So, Coach, again, another outstanding group with a ton of accomplishments. Let's have some fun.
Definitely. Excited to be here and excited to do this. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. You know, it's always fun and just amazing at some levels when we do the introductions to go through and hear the resumes and the accomplishments of all the panels that we have. But it's even more fun with this group because it's bringing back a lot of memories to my mind of performances and accomplishments because, not to sound possessive, but you guys are all part of my teams here at Bucknell. And so this makes this really exciting and special. They're all special in their own way, but this is a lot of fun for me. And so hopefully we get a chance to relive some shared exciting memories and fun memories. And also looking to you guys to pass on some advice, both to myself and to Caroline, as we continue to try to move forward with the program. But before we start kind of looking back, give us an update on kind of where you're at and what you've been up to. I know for some of you, it's been, all told 3 years kind of since you've been out of school. And for some of you, I think for probably both me and yourselves, it's been longer than you care to think. But it's exciting, and we would definitely like to hear. So we'll try to go for this one in order of most or furthest out graduation. So Molly, we'll let you go first, not to make you feel old.
All right, yeah, that's me. 10 years. Supposed to have my 10-year reunion virtually this year, which is wild. But hi, everyone. It's really great to see all these faces. Todd, Dan, great to see you. And really just, it's fun to go down memory lane and to relive all this. So excited to be here. I'm living in New York City. I work in digital advertising sales for an ad network based actually out of California, but I'm here in New York. And I've been doing that since I graduated. And I got engaged a couple months ago. So hopefully getting married maybe this summer, hopefully in some capacity.
Definitely getting married, just the
Yeah, definitely getting married. Just not sure the how and the when.
That's great. All right. Kelly, you're up next.
Hi, everyone. Same thing as Molly. It's really great to see everybody. And thanks for including me in this. I'm really excited. I'm currently living in Philadelphia. I am a sales trainer. I started in medical device and now I'm in medical analytics. And I've been doing that, since graduation. And my only family right now is my dog, Speedo. And I guess outside of work, I actually got in the pool for the first time 2 weeks ago in over a year. And that was a little bit of a rude awakening, especially since it was outside in Pennsylvania in a heated pool. But yeah, I'm trying to get back into feeling like I can swim again. So that's what I've been up to.
That's great. Got to believe they had to do some shoveling. I think you got even more snow than we did in the last week.
Yeah, there was a little shoveling, although it was kind of cool. I mean, the water's obviously like 80 plus degrees, but it was pretty cool swimming with snow around you. So that was a new experience.
That's great. All right, Tara, you're up next.
Hi, everyone. I mean, again, like Molly and Kelly said, really great to see everyone. It's been a while. I first moved to New York City right out of college, but I'm living in Philadelphia as well right now. Still with PwC, the accounting firm where I started out of school, but I'm in more of a consulting role now, which has been a lot more exciting than the original audit that I started in. I'm living with my fiance and again, hoping to get married this summer, fingers crossed for August 21st. And our latest bit of excitement was that we brought home a puppy about a month ago. So apologize in advance if there's some barking in the back, but.
No reason to apologize. It's always good to have little cameos, whether it's spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, dogs. We definitely have.
Oh, there she is.
There you go. On cue.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right. Emma, you're up next.
Hi, guys. Good to see everyone. I am in my last year of vet school at Purdue in Indiana, so hoping to finally be done with school in May. And as far as what's next, I haven't figured that out quite yet. I have some interviews set up in the next month, so hopefully something will come of that. And we'll move on to adulthood since I've just been a student for the last however many years it's been. But yeah, just me and my dogs. I have 2 Labradors, so that's it. Yeah.
Very nice, Emma. All right. Diana, up next.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's so good to see everyone. I am finishing up my last semester of law school at the University of Maryland in Baltimore, where all the the medical school is and everything. COVID's been hard, but it's been nice because I've been able to move back home to Montgomery County, Maryland. So that's where I am now and looking forward to finishing up, taking the bar, and then I have a judicial clerkship lined up for next year.
All right. Very good. And Caroline.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me. I work for a company called Actuary. It's a healthcare consulting company. I live in Philadelphia right now. And since graduating, I've become an aunt. I have a 2-year-old nephew named Hayden, and you get all the fun of parenting without the responsibilities. So that's been the most exciting thing.
Yeah, your mom was telling us a little bit about him.
Yeah, you've heard all about him now, I'm sure.
Oh, that's great. So thank you everybody for updating us. And so now the fun begins. We get to start to look back. And so kind of the first question as we look back, and again, I have memories of the process for all of you, the recruiting process and how that went. But we'd love for you to share some memories of what the recruiting process and your college search process was like, and then what ultimately led you to decide to come to Bucknell. And so we'll go kind of in the same order for this one. And Molly, you can kick this off.
Sure. So thinking back to the process, I think when it all started, I guess junior year in high school, I think my initial thoughts were, I remember really wanting to do exactly what my older sister had done. And she had went to a different school and she swam. And I was kind of in that mindset of wanting to just do what was comfortable and what was known and sort of just, mimic her. And, but Bucknell was always up there. It was always something that I had my eye on. And it was when Dan was just coming on board. So I knew there was really exciting stuff going on with the program. And I think when I came to visit and I saw the pool, obviously the facilities, and honestly, when I went and sat and had lunch with the team in the CAF, which we all know the CAF sits are a big part of that. And I remember thinking, this is what is best for me. This is where I feel comfortable. This is the community I want to be a part of. And that kind of sold it for me. Excited. And I honestly never looked back. And I'm so happy that I did, because it was the right decision for me. And it worked out really well.
Awesome. I have a few other memories, but we'll share those for a different time. Kel, next.
So I went to Bucknell on my recruiting trip. It was my last one at the end of October. So it was Halloween weekend. So brought a costume and everything. And I remember leaving the weekend really, really loving the school, loving how well the team got along. And it just, it's same thing as Molly, having breakfast in the CAF with everybody. I mean, and that went all through college, just being one of the favorite things that you would do. I actually had it narrowed down to Bucknell and another Patriot League school, but I kept making pros and cons lists and kind of like tweaking them to make Bucknell win, just so that I could try to, make sure I was doing the right thing. But then, yeah, I made the call to Dan, and I still remember being asked if I wanted to be a Bison, and I said yes. And then I still remember coming in for Accepted Students Day, driving by the Kelly Commons right on Route 15 and thinking that that was a good sign. So ultimately the absolute right choice. And yeah, that was my recruiting experience.
I don't ever remember asking people if they wanted to be a Bison, but you and always bring that up. So
yep.
You definitely did, Dan. You definitely did.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Tara.
Yeah. So I know that when I was looking at colleges, like I was, I'm sure like a lot of people, right, aiming for the perfect balance of like academics and athletics, right? Somewhere that I would be challenged academically and be a good fit for the athletic program. So I know I cast like a pretty wide net, in terms of just reaching out to schools, talking to coaches and, seeing the fit there as well. And I remember the summer, probably between my junior and senior years, when I visited Bucknell for the first time, my mom and I met Errol. And my mom still, like, she said that after we left that day, she was like, as soon as you step foot on that campus, like, I knew you were going there. We weren't done looking at schools. We had 4 other schools planned on the trip, but like, I just knew that was it. And that was really just reaffirmed when I went on my recruiting trip. Like, I mean, Molly and Kelly said, I still remember sitting in the CAF with the team at lunch, and I'm sure everyone has that memory from their recruiting trip, but just the close-knit nature of the team, the energy on campus, the facilities, Errol, coaching staff, just all of it was like, seemed like the perfect package. And so for me, it was a very, very easy choice.
Great. Emma, you're up next.
Yeah, kind of similar to Tara. I was looking for a really good balance between athletics and academics, and I think that my junior season in high school was like my best season in high school. So I think that I kind of was on the fence about competing in collegiate athletics, and then I had a really good year, and then I was like, okay, well, we'll investigate. And I just remember coming on my recruiting trip to Bucknell, and obviously seeing the pool was magnificent, and falling in love with campus. And I felt like the team members were really embracing of me, and I felt like a family member already. And kind of as soon as I had left there, I knew that it was the place for me. And thinking about it now, my dad had visited campus before I even went on my recruiting trip, and he had like bought a hat and a mug, and he was like, oh, I know you're gonna go here, even before I had been there. So it was just meant to be.
Always good to have some positive influences before you even get on. So
yeah, especially with my brother going to Lehigh. So we had some competition there in the family for Patriot League schools.
Very nice. Diana.
So I had a bit of a unique experience. So I kind of got behind on the whole process and didn't really know what was going on. There was no one who had come from my program or my side of my program in recent memory before me who had gone through the process. So, you know, junior year finished, July 1st came, I was like, like, how does this work? Do I just get calls? I had no idea. And I didn't get any calls. So I was like, this is weird. So then a little bit later, I was like, maybe I should do something about this. So I just sent out a bunch of emails to a bunch of coaches, and Bucknell was on my list because both my parents graduated from Bucknell. And of course, I'd been to the pool when it just opened, and I was like, obviously, I want to swim in that pool. I didn't know much more about the school, though. And thankfully, Dan responded to me and was like, do you want to come on a recruiting trip? And, you know, this is how clueless I was. I was like, well, I would miss a whole weekend of practice, so I'll just come up with my family for a day. So I just came up for a day and met Dan, saw the pool, and I think I was like, yeah, I'm good here. So, yeah, I kind of knew it right away. And yeah, I'm really glad it worked out.
Well, I'm glad it worked out too. And I'd like to think it was good for everybody, but yeah, that was one of this quicker recruiting processes. It worked well. If they could all just be that kind of smooth and fast, but it was great. And somebody else with a couple of alumni connections that we keep referencing, Caroline, you had some, you know, family influences perhaps at work in your process.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously Bucknell was on my radar because my parents both went and swam at Bucknell. I even have like a distant memory of being like 10 years old, and I don't know why we were on campus, but we were visiting for some reason, and we swam just when the pool had been built. So I remember trying to swim under the bulkhead and someone yelling at me.
Probably was Pam Arnold.
Yeah, it might have been. But so when I was in high school, I don't know if I really knew if I wanted to swim or not. I didn't know if I was good enough to swim at Bucknell even, but I wanted to go somewhere where I'd be challenged in the pool. I came from my high school was pretty small, and I didn't have a big foundation as far as like training goes. And so I didn't want to go somewhere where I was the top dog like I was in high school. I wanted to go somewhere where I would be challenged. And then just looking around, I was drawn to the Patriot League. It just so happened that, you know, this sort of level of competition is what I could definitely handle and could see myself growing within. So once I realized Patriot League was good, it was kind of an easy choice. I did a recruiting trip, obviously at Bucknell, and then at one other school. And after visiting Bucknell, I knew it was the right fit. And Diana was actually one of my hosts, so she did a good job there too.
I'm so glad. Thank you.
Yep.
Well, that's great. And so at this point, I'm going to kick it over and reintroduce Caroline Mahoney. As Todd said, she is one of our first years. Having a different kind of experience, certainly a different first year than any of you had, and they're all unique, right? But this has been definitely a different experience for her and her classmates. We've kind of kidded about along the way. She doesn't have another reference point, and her classmates have said that, so they're making the most out of it, not worried about what they're missing. They're just, you know, enjoying what they do have. But we are hopeful that as we continue through this semester, and certainly as we continue through the next few years with her, she's going to have a lot of the same great experiences that you have, but she's got a question for you guys. So I'll kick it over to you, Caroline.
Hi, everybody. It's so nice to meet all of you. This is such a cool experience. Oh, it's so amazing. I love it. Okay, so here's the first question. So what advice would you give me or any other of the athletes that are in our program today about college swimming and diving experience at Bucknell?
And so for this one, we'll reverse our order, just so, as Todd said, somebody doesn't get stuck last. So Caroline, you can go first on this one.
All right. Hi, Caroline. Nice to meet you. You have a great first name. So advice I'd give, I'd say that, you know, being a part of the team and going 4 years swimming and doing academics at Bucknell is a feat in and of itself. And you can get bogged down in having all these goals. You want to get this time or beat this person or whatever. I think it's important to focus on like the small successes that you have day to day, week to week, and not get too bogged down in the big goals. Because in the end, once you graduate, all your memories are going to be about the fun time you had with your team and not necessarily about all the, you know, your best times and the races that you were winning. So that's one thing I wish as I went through my 4 years that I would focus on the small successes as I went.
All right, Diana.
Hi, Caroline. It's nice to meet you. I think one thing that I would say is it might be difficult this year because of COVID. I don't know how you all are doing practices, but one thing that I really loved was the number of opportunities that you have just being a part of the team. And I would say just take advantage of every opportunity that you have to get better. You know, whether it's staying after practice or going before practice to work on stroke, or, you know, I remember Dan introduced us to different people like, you know, a nutritionist or a sports psychologist. And I just think it's so important that you have all these opportunities being a part of this team and like take advantage of them. It's just really cool that you get to be a part of it. So I hope you're loving it.
All right, Emma.
Hi, Caroline. Go sprint free and backstroke. We're very similar there. I think my biggest piece of advice is to really embrace being a part of such a close-knit community. It's not something that you find all the time. It's not something that you have, you know, throughout your whole life, to have such a large community that is just really backing you and is always going to be supportive of you and your goals. And even in those small triumphs, like Caroline was mentioning, they're going to be there through it all. And I think that really relying on them in both your successes and your struggles is key. I think that they do become your family and they're there to help you through thick and thin. So that's something that I've cherished, is just having that group of individuals.
All right, Tara, you're up next.
Okay. Yeah, I think my advice would just be, I'm sorry, that's Luna. I think it's very easy, especially if you're friends with people outside the team, right? That you're seeing, you know, maybe them have a different college experience than you and getting bogged down in the day-to-day, right? That I think by the end of my 4 years, I was just feeling a little burned out just from all the obligations, right? It's obviously, you have to be very committed through the 4 years, but like looking back on it, having been involved with the program dedicated for 4 years was like such a rewarding experience. And I think you're never going to look back and like regret, you know, not being able to go to brunch with them on Sunday morning, or, you know what, or not Sunday, Saturdays, because we don't have practice on Sunday, but as a concept, right? Like you're not looking back at those little things saying, oh, hey, I missed out on that. Like really some of my best memories from college was the experiences I had with the team, right? Whether that was practice Saturday morning, that was meets, et cetera, you name it, right? Like I would say the majority of my college memories that I look back really fondly on related to the team. So I think it's very easy to get bogged down in the day-to-day and, you know, the routine of it all, but really just embrace it.
Kelly, you're up. Yeah, you kind of anticipate the order.
Similar little bits and pieces from what everyone said. I think I took myself way too seriously a lot of the time in college. I had a lot of tears, probably very unnecessary. So definitely grew in that sense as I moved on, I think, through the 4 years. But while, it's a very special experience and being part of the team and taking it seriously, but also being able to, move past little things and kind of like Caroline said, like the little successes or set yourself little goals so that, you can make things more fun and lighthearted and not always have to see the negatives in everything that went a little bit wrong. Because I kind of fell into that sometimes, but looking back on it, that's not the stuff that you remember. So in the moment, just thinking ahead if you can, the best that you can, that, not going, under a minute in the 100 in practice on a Thursday afternoon is really not going to matter when you're like maybe even just a year out of school. So something like that is what I'd say. Big advice for you on that.
It's good advice and amazing specificity in what you were talking about.
All right, so I think I'm up. Hi, Caroline. I would say in terms of the best piece of advice, along with everything that everyone else has said, is to just be present as much as possible throughout everything, because everyone says this and you'll hear it a million times, but it does go too fast. And I miss it. And it was so wonderful. But in the moment, you do get caught up and you're worried about this and you have school and training and everything. And to just try to be in the moment of all of it. And, obviously there's a lot of unknown and a lot of change, but that's what I'm learning is just life. And that stays the constant. So, just sort of embracing the change and being present throughout it and just trying to find the joy and, in the smallest moments and random practices and, the team huddles and walking to practice and walking to wherever it is, just sort of being present in every moment, because that is the stuff that you will remember. Like everyone said, you won't remember times or places, but you'll just remember those feelings and just being with everyone and, just how much you loved it. So.
Great, a lot of great advice there. And so next question, maybe it's probably difficult, or at least I hope it was difficult to think of your best memory or your best experience, but maybe at least a top three, one that really stands out to you as maybe kind of the epitome of what the 4 years with our program was all about. And so Caroline, we'll let you go first on this one.
Sure. So I think one that sticks out to me was our dual meet against Lehigh my senior year. So when I came in as a freshman, Lehigh wasn't necessarily one of our big rivals. I think we usually had a pretty easy time beating them in dual meet and at Patriots, but over the next 3 or 4 years, they built a pretty strong program, especially their sprinters, and they beat us in a dual meet once or twice in that time. And so senior year, one of our goals as a team was to take back that dual meet title and to beat Lehigh. And it was an away meet at Lehigh. So we're in that tiny pool, 6 lanes. And it came down to the 100 fly was not the last event, but Dan pulled me aside and the other 2 girls I was swimming with, Juliana Foss and Lindsay Smolik. We often swam the 100 fly all together as a trio that year. Juliana and Lindsay often going 1-2 or 2-1. And then I bring up the back in 3rd place. And so Dan pulled us aside and said, if you guys go 1, 2, 3 in this event, we'll have enough points to win and we'll be safe for the rest of the meet. And so in that situation, I was like, felt all the pressure on me to get 3rd place, which is fun because I don't have to get 1st, but I have to get 3rd. So I was in lane 6 or 1, whichever one's closest to the stands. And I couldn't see anyone else besides the girl next to me. And I just went as hard as I could and ended up getting 3rd. And then we got enough points to win. And so everyone could relax for the rest of the meet and have fun. And it was a really good memory. Everyone really hyped up, and then singing Ray Bucknell on the bus back home was always a plus of an away meet win.
That's great. And I actually remember pulling the 3 of you guys aside for that one.
Yep.
All right, Diana.
So I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, but when I was a freshman, I got to experience the Navy quad meet when we beat Navy. And that was a really cool experience because it was one of my first meets. And I didn't really know what was going on, and we won. And I remember seeing how excited everyone was. And I remember one of the guys, probably a senior guy, coming up to me and being like, "Do you know what this means?" And I was like, "No, but yay." I had no idea. So I just think that was a really cool thing to be a part of. And also to see it was my first experience really seeing the spirit of the team, and how invested everyone got in the meet and how excited everyone was for one another. And I think that was probably one of the moments where I was like, okay, I'm in the right place. Like, this is cool.
That's another good one. Emma.
Yeah, I definitely had a ton of really amazing experiences, especially as a whole team when we would, win meets. And definitely I remember the bus rides home being very memorable. But for me, I think the most memorable experience that I had was going to NCAAs and walking into that pool and just being surrounded by the just sheer impressiveness of everyone that was there. And being able to be a part of that, however, small it made me feel. But for me, that was something that, I'll always hold close and have to look back on fondly in my swimming career.
We weren't the biggest team there, but we did find seats. So that's good. Tara, you're up next.
Yeah, no, I mean, like everyone else has said, I think it's tough to really kind of narrow this down, right? Because there are so many good ones. But one that really just stood out to me was senior year at Patriots. Typically, right, divers are considered a third of a person from a championship meet perspective, right? So like you bring 3 of us for one swimmer, and that's generally how it works, right? You bring 3. But senior year was finally a year where Dan made the choice to bring 6 of us. And that was just really cool to be a part of, to have, 5 of my closest friends, teammates, competing against them. We ended up all doing pretty well, outscoring just us 6 divers, outscoring the entire Holy Cross swim team was just the coolest thing to be a part of. And just like, I don't know, really showed the power that divers can bring, which we don't get to do a lot, so.
Not sure who made that statistic. I'm sure it's true, but
I think we did the math at the time and we're like, holy crap.
I don't think I announced that at any pre-session huddles, but
No, I don't think so.
All right, Kelly.
So was very difficult to pick one thing, but there is one thing that really sticks out for me. It was winning second place at my junior year Patriots at home. We beat Colgate, which was huge. And we were actually chanting second feels like first, because it really did. And so getting to stand on the podium with the whole team, honestly, I mean, that picture, there's a picture of all of us on the podium trying to fit the entire girls team on the top podium, which was awesome. I still remember taking that picture, and getting to sing Ray Bucknell at Patriots was just an amazing, it was just a great meet. I had a good meet, so I think that helped, but that moment was just, it was amazing. I loved that whole day, even though I had to swim the mile. I loved that day.
Yeah, that was a great meet for so many people on the team. It was just a great step forward in a lot of ways for the program at that point in time. All right, Molly.
Kelly, I remember that I was in the stands for that as an alum, and it was awesome. It was very fun. I remember there was a huge crowd of us, and honestly, those were some of the most fun moments too, when there was no pressure and I didn't have to worry about how I was going to do. I could just cheer from the stands.
And yeah, having the alumni was always such, especially at that meet,
always.
it was just amazing.
Especially that year in particular.
Go ahead. I was going to say that my favorite memory is very similar to Kelly's, but a little different a few years prior. It was my junior year at Patriots at Navy, and we beat Colgate. And it might have been because someone on Colgate DQ'd in a relay, but that doesn't really matter because it was just an incredible week. And I think same thing like everyone said, it was, counting the points every night going into finals of, okay, who's going to move up or stay the same. And the entire team, men and women's team, is just kind of rallying around each other. Also chanting second feels like first the entire bus ride home, which I'm sure everyone was very sick of at the end. But, I think when you look back on it, it's the moments where it's such an individual sport and, you have your races and you're very concerned with what you're doing, but I don't remember any of my races. Like they're all a blur. I remember, the entire team. I remember the team huddles, the cheers. I remember when, the guys are up against Army for the last relay of the meet and, everybody's rallying around that. So that's definitely the stuff that sticks out. I think for such an individual sport, there's a huge team element to it that would be impossible without it.
Great sentiments and great memories. Next question for everybody is, who was a teammate during your 4 years that you admired the most, or perhaps just had a really profound impact on your time at Bucknell? And so for this, we'll reverse the order again. We're going to start with you, Molly.
Sure. So my sort of most significant teammate, I think, in my years at Bucknell is Maggie Mongan, who is a graduate of 2010, so a year above me. We were training partners for 3 years, sharing a lane, pushing each other in practice. She used to look at me whenever we were doing sets, anything, and she would say, "What are we going to go on this one?" And I'd say, "Okay, all right, well, this." I don't even remember what the times were. And she'd be like, "No, we're going to go faster than that." And the next one, like, "Okay, we're going to beat that one." And I just remember the entire time, we would just push each other and hype each other up. And honestly, I think, she made my experience. She was who I visited when I first came to Bucknell. She showed me around, and we had just instant connection. But I think, just pushing me every day. And it's funny, like we still now we'll go a couple months without talking, and then the Bucknell Instagram will post something of, getting ready for a meet, and we'll text each other, "What are you going to go? What are you going to go?" 10 years later. So, that's something that has stuck with me, and someone that worked really hard and pushed everyone around her was really admirable.
That's great. All right. Kelly. Yep.
Someone who I really admired during my time was Liz Precellio. We became really good friends by the time that she graduated. And she was always really hardworking in the pool. She was a great swimmer and a great student. She also had like straight A's in neuroscience, which is just, I took Neuro 101 and thought I was going to die. So it was the only science class without a lab. So I thought I was getting away with something, but didn't go very well. I was really great friends with Liz, but she also was so calm, cool, and collected all the time. And that was something that maybe from my advice to you, Caroline, as a swimmer, people could tell maybe I needed somebody to kind of bring me back down to earth sometimes. That was a little, more relaxed and enjoyed things a little bit more. And so she helped me a lot in that way, but was also somebody who, especially as an upperclassman, really led by example and kind of helped me take on that role as a senior when I became a captain after she was. So Liz was a big impact for me.
Good. Tara.
Again, a really hard question, I thought. But one person that definitely comes to mind is Tori Mulchaney, who's another diver in my year. I think she was had a great attitude approaching everything, right? Whether it was she was injured and she was diving through it, pushing herself in the weight room, trying to catch up with her when she's squatting like 200 pounds. I don't know what you're doing, but even things like, I don't know, in diving, right? If you do something wrong, it hurts and that sucks. And it's very easy to get scared about that. And she just had like this no fear approach to everything that we had a joke that it only happened probably a couple of times in our career, but we would get Errol on board with a get out dive, meaning that if someone chucks a crazy dive that they've never done before, everyone gets out of practice early. So we'd always like be joking about it, like, "Hey, can we get a get out dive? So one day he asked Tori, I forget what he even asked her to do. Maybe it was back 2.5 pike, but she goes, "I'm not going to do that, but I'll chuck a 3.5 off 3 meter." And he was like, "Okay." She just gets up, throws herself off, destroys herself, gets a black eye, but she pops out of the pool smiling, saying, "So we're good? We can leave?" And just like, I don't know, the attitude, it was just a real treat to dive with her for 4 years.
That's a great story. Emma.
I definitely had a lot of people that I admired throughout my 4 years, but actually, Kelly, you were one for me. Just watching you in the pool, your dedication and perseverance, I think it takes a certain level of drive and dedication to swim distance, especially as far as distance as you had to swim at times. And then just having you as like a superior or senior figure when I'm just a young kid on the team. I think that was, it was really great for me, and you were always very supportive of everyone on the team, and always felt comfortable around you. So I think that as a freshman and as a new person on a team in a new place where you don't know anything, I think that's really important.
Means a lot, Emma. Thank you. I loved having you as a teammate as well.
Oh.
All right. I've already lost track. Where are we? Diana?
It's me, yeah. I have so many people, but I think everyone in the classes above me, you just look up to absolutely everyone because they kind of have a grip on things, especially when you're a freshman. There's so many people that helped me along the way because I was a little bit shy. But I think the person who stands out to me is Steph Coziel. During my sophomore year, she kind of took me in and essentially said, "You're swimming in my lane now." And I came in and swam in her lane. And she just pushed me every single day. We got really, really close. I just think of like some of my favorite memories are just swimming in the lane with her and laughing or, complaining or whatever it was. And, we would always do the frim practices together. She got me through so many practices and just a really great friend. So.
Very nice. All right. And then Caroline.
Yeah. This is a tough question. I mean, Diana and Emma and Tara was on teams with you guys, and I would say all of you were influential in my career. But the one person that I think is sort of the most that stands out to me is Leanne Archer. She was like, I don't know, like a big sister to me. I think we are a lot alike in a lot of ways, and I was really shy when I came in. I don't know if I spoke for like 4 months. And Leanne, she said, I did the same thing. And I'm like, I don't believe that, because she was like so outgoing and she was such a great leader. And so, she was just a really good friend, a really good teammate. I think she embodied a lot of what I wanted to be as a teammate, just someone who you can be a good friend with and you can go to for advice and whatever. And not necessarily the highest point scorer or anything, but just someone who's always there for their teammates and is a good role model for everyone.
All right. Great stories and a lot of great memories. And thank you all for sharing those. So at this point, we're going to kick it back over to Caroline to kind of maybe get some advice on how you translate this amazing experience into the next step.
Yeah, for sure. So what advice do you have about networking and finding the right job after Bucknell?
All right. We'll go to Molly first on this one as the one that's had the most experience so far as well.
Sure. So I would say, a couple of things. One, there are a lot of people that come into Bucknell and know, there's a great engineering program, there's great math and sciences. A lot of people know what they want to go into. I was not one of those people. I didn't know what my major was going to be. I didn't know what field I was going to go into. And that's a great thing about Bucknell, is that you have a liberal arts education. You're exposed to a lot of different things. Teaches you how to think and how to just sort of embrace a lot of different skill sets. So that I think is really valuable. But I would also just say, the Bucknell network is very strong and vivacious, and people love to help. Just the other day, I got an email from someone that didn't even go to Bucknell, but they wrote Ray Bucknell in the subject line, and I immediately opened it and was talked to them. So I think, don't underestimate the power of alumni and making those connections, and also just be really curious and try to just learn as much as you can. The reality is, like most people, I had no idea what the working world was like what people did for jobs, like what that job actually meant, or what the day-to-day entailed. So just talking to as many people as you can and trying to figure out what their day-to-day looks like. And also, everyone talks about how being an athlete is really valuable, and it is. You're competitive, you have that work ethic. But it also, it just sort of teaches you how to manage it all, how to multitask, and how to be a team player, which is a huge part of being a part of any company or organization. So just know that you have those skills already in your toolkit, and, definitely use those.
Very good. All right. Yep. Kelly, you're up.
Yes, I'm next. Similar to Molly, I would say just not being afraid to reach out if there's names that you know or people that you see at places that you're interested in. Don't ever feel like, you're overstepping your bounds or being a burden. I think any one of us would hate to see an email from anybody on the team or that was on the team or currently on the team. I would absolutely love to have that and be able to help and support somebody in any way. So just not feeling like it's, at all weird to reach out to somebody that is doing something that you're interested in. And also keeping structure in your life. I think it was a little tough right after school. You think like that's over and you can, things, you're so structured your whole life and swimming career up until that point. So knowing that kind of worked, at least for me, that worked for me, and kind of keeping that kind of discipline and structure is where I feel my best. So I think that that's something to also remember once you have some freedom after swimming.
All right, Tara.
Yes. I would say the biggest thing to keep in mind, and it's definitely been true in my experience, is that people that went to Bucknell love to help people that go to Bucknell. So like I started at the out of school at PwC, an accounting firm. And really PwC has such a strong presence on campus recruiting because there's a heavy presence from Bucknell at PwC. And there's just so many people that really invest in that relationship that makes it it was a very, I don't want to say easy interview process, but it definitely helped along the way, right? That people really want to help you out. Not only with getting that initial job, but when I transferred to Philadelphia, I actually changed groups too. And I was so nervous, talking to the partner in the new group that I was interviewing with. And then I look him up, his name's Rob Young. He went to Bucknell, played football, graduated a while ago. But as a concept, right? So like that just like took most of my nerves out of that interview, right? I was like, oh, it's just talking to another bison. You know what I mean? So I think that, and as soon as I got there with him, I was like, I don't know, preparing for all these interview questions, right, to like get asked. And it was like literally just trading stories about, our time at Bucknell was 95% of it. So people from Bucknell love to help people that go to Bucknell, definitely.
For me, I have yet to enter the adult world, so I can't give you any advice on networking for a job, but for me, for getting into grad school, it was definitely utilizing a lot of people at Bucknell and knowing that you have a lot of people already there that you can network with for outside things. So like Dan helped me with vet school applications, and he was able to write me letters of recommendation, and my professors that I had spent a lot of time with. So using your sources on campus to help you network outside of campus as well, I think is key. At least that's how it worked out for me. So I think it'll be the same for you.
I'm in Emma's boat a little bit here too, because I'm still in school, but I think one piece of advice I would say is while you're at Bucknell, just don't be afraid to take classes that are, outside of your comfort zone or a little bit different, and just really try and just find what you like to do. I feel like a lot of people come in and they're like, well, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. And I think it's really important to just find what you want to do. And then you can go from there and networking. But, it's kind of a unique opportunity that you have at Bucknell where there's such a wide range of majors and it's a liberal arts school. So you need to take all these different classes. So I would just take advantage of that and just, have fun with it and take a bunch of fun classes.
Yeah, I was actually going to say similar thing to Diana. Some of the most fun classes I took were outside my major. But kind of similar idea is if you're looking for like an internship or something, don't be afraid to do something that maybe doesn't fit in your major, or maybe doesn't end up being what you do after school, because also ruling out what you don't want to do is very important. My junior year, or after my junior year, I did this research experience for undergrad program, which are sponsored across the US at different colleges, and they're sort of to help people filter into like PhD programs in STEM. And I wanted to understand if I wanted to go to school for physics or math after graduating to get like a master's or a PhD. And I knew it was something that I really didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know what grad school looked like for a physics student. So it was a really great experience. I went study at Boston College, and I got to see what that was like. Ended up not wanting to go to grad school after it, but at least it helped me in my decision in the end. So I'd say that's a good idea.
All right, some more great advice there. And kind of, I think we got time, right, Todd, for one more? All right, so the last question of our kind of roundtable format here is, 5 of you swam for me. Tara, you dove for Errol. You're all relatively recent grads of the program. And so, I think we're always trying to grow it. We're trying to improve it. But what advice do you have for us that helps us to continue to make things better? And so for this, I don't know, maybe we, I don't know. Well, Caroline, you can go first. We'll start with you.
Okay. This is kind of a hard question. I don't know how to coach a college swimming program, but I think what would make my experience, or what made my experience more fun as I went through the 4 years, was like anytime we had practices that kind of fell outside the norm. So I know people tell you to like do new things and try something different at practice, and I know it's hard to come up with new things to do, but whenever the schedule was like slightly different, or we swam a long course, or we did a new set of stations or something, that always just made going to practice a little bit easier, having a little bit of fun and surprise in our schedule rather than the same routine, which is also something that I do now as when I'm working out on my own. I like to spice things up. So I don't know, just like keeping things interesting and trying new things in practice and maybe in dry land and stuff like that.
All right. Very practical advice. Very good. We're going to jump around on this one, so we'll have some fun. Molly, you get to go next.
Sure. So I think one of the things that I probably didn't appreciate enough at the time, but was the most valuable part, I think, of my experience was we all know that Dan likes the process, and that's a big word for him, but it's so important. And I think that you really built our program and training around the importance of the process. And I think that is so crucial, because we all get in our own heads and we all worry about the next thing, but it's the day-to-day that matters. And I think you've done a great job with that. So I think that's really great. And definitely something to continue to build the program around. And then also, sprinter over here, I want to see my name go down on the board, and I want to see some relays take some titles. So some more sprinters.
Yep. Hopefully Caroline gets a chance to help with that this year. All right, we'll go Tara.
Yeah, again, I think this is a very hard question, because I don't know, first, I don't know anything about swimming, right? But I guess my one thing would just be, don't forget about the divers, right? Like, I think generally, right, we're one team and the team very much views it that way, but like my best memories of being on the team were when we had a bigger team, right? And that really translated to us making a lot bigger of an impact at meets too, right? So just not, I don't want to say foregoing divers for swimmers, right? But like as a concept, right? Remembering that recruiting that aspect of the team is important too. And I think builds on the experience and can really pay off in championships. And like Molly said, right? Like, I'm not like dying for my name to go down like just yet, but no, getting someone in there, right? Some good talent would be very good for the program. And I think that would be exciting to see.
Definitely. All right. Diana.
Yeah, so I had a hard time with this one. I think my advice is more applicable to any group of 60 people that you're trying to work with, which seems kind of impossible in the first place. But I would say to celebrate hard work and encouragement and, people that are just, trying their best as much as fast swimming, because, I think all of us, when you have 60 people, obviously we're all very talented swimmers, but you have some people who have a little bit more natural gift. And there's some people that I swam with that would push me so hard, and maybe they didn't even make a Patriots team, or maybe they weren't on the top 10. And I think they deserve just as much praise and, celebration as any of us who are either on the record board or scoring points. So that's my advice.
Very nice. Emma.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what everyone else has said. Not ready for my names to come off the record board yet, but eventually, yes. Maybe Caroline, you'll take my name down eventually. But I think for me, I felt like my best days on pool deck were when the atmosphere was really uplifting and people were genuinely enjoying themselves. It may not have been when we were all, doing our best times or performing our best, but it was when we were all just really happy to be around each other. I remember one practice specifically was a Saturday morning, and we were doing a sprint set or something, or I don't even know what we were doing, but something really hard and fast. And I remember finishing and getting out of the pool, and you, Dan, were like, "This has been a really good day for you." And I wasn't swimming fast really, but I was in a really good mood, and I was happy to just be around everyone. And I think like having that supported, kind of much like what Diana said, just supporting genuine happiness at being there and being around each other, and realizing that your performance at practice or at one particular meet is not going to make or break your time there. And there's other things going on that you can pay attention to as well.
All right. I think I've nabbed Kelly.
Same as everyone else, I actually had a kind of a tough time thinking of an answer to this, but agree with everybody. I would really like somebody to take my name off the board. I felt really bad after the mile last year. It was just so painfully close. I could feel how painful it was. So she's got to get it. But one thing that I think I thought back to was one of the main reasons, even back to the recruiting question, that I really stuck out to me at Bucknell was just the camaraderie between both the men's and women's team, really fostering that camaraderie. And I guess I spent a lot of time swimming, the same sets with the men's team. And so just really trying to keep everybody together and happy. And I had my best experiences my senior year, was really close with the men's team and the captains. And I just think it made for a more fun and relaxing environment for everybody when the men and women kind of got along and we're all friends together. And I don't know how much of a coaching thing that can be, but I guess just keeping that camaraderie on the deck and throughout the pool was something I really appreciated while I was in school.
Definitely having the whole program working together is always important. So again, great advice, and I appreciate that. And it's been so much fun seeing you guys, hearing stories. I could do this even longer, but unfortunately, Todd, we got a time limit, right? So I will kick it back to you, but thank you so much, all of you, both for what you did and for being here today.
Well, I knew Coach was really looking forward to this session, and it showed. So first of all, I want to just say in closing, Caroline, thank you for joining us tonight, taking the time out from your studies or whatever you're doing right now. We appreciate you being here, and we wish you the best of luck and are keeping our fingers crossed that you're in that natatorium behind me this spring competing and doing some damage against the Patriot League foes. So best of luck to you and your teammates. And to the alums, thank you guys for what you did while you were a member of the Orange and Blue and how you represented not only the swimming and diving program, but Bucknell University. And then thanks for everything you've done since then to support the program. Best of luck to each of you. It sounds like everybody's doing really great. It's great to hear that. So best of luck to you in your careers, and hopefully we'll get to see you guys back on campus when campus opens back up to outside visitors, hopefully sooner rather than later. And then to those folks that tuned in tonight to watch at home, thank you for doing so, and go Bison.